Hello viewers, it's me Han Fung, host about Talk Sport again. So far in our talk shows, we've had so many different guests who work in different sports, but we actually never had a basketball coach in our show before. So it's such a big honor for us today to welcome our SEA Games silver medalist, a leader who is making an impact in Vietnam basketball. So please welcome to our show, Coach WEISSLING.
Hello everybody, thank you for having me.
How are you doing today, Coach?
I'm doing good. Excited to be here. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, I've got like a few chances to see you on the courts like before, from Saigon to Hanoi, and you look most of the times really intense.
High energy, yeah, just a little bit,
Yeah. So first of all, can you share us about your journey to become a coach so far? Like, how long have you been working as a coach professionally?
So I started coaching professionally in 2011. So it's been many years.
Wow.
I'm a young guy, but I have a lot of experience. Before I started coaching, I actually got to work with the San Antonio Spurs as equipment manager. So I spent 7 years with an NBA team, getting to learn from them.
Oh, really?
Be a sponge and absorb all the things I'm learning from them, and then finally got to apply it in 2011, and here I am today, still coaching.
So can you share us about what was the circumstance that got you to be the coach of Hanoi Buffalo?
Blessed opportunity. Just having the chance to interview for Hanoi Buffaloes. I was in Mexico. It was the beginning of COVID, and
so it was about 2 years ago.
2020.
Right,
yes.
yeah.
So it was the beginning of COVID, and everybody was going through a very tough time. There's the challenges of having to get through something that we're not accustomed to, which is dealing with mask on, stay at home. It was hard on everybody, but just getting that phone call and saying, hey, do you want to be a Hanoi Buffalo and lead our group? Everything happens for a reason. I'm a big believer in that. Everything's a learning lesson. And so just the opportunity, I had interviewed with another team, I won't say, but before too as well. And Hanoi Buffaloes wanted me. The other team wanted actually a good friend of mine, Coach Ryan Marchand. So we basically went to the two spots that we were supposed to go.
Yeah, sure.
Is destiny in many senses. But I've been very blessed because the organization has been top notch. The organization does everything in their power to make sure that the team is not only successful, but is happy within what is the environment that we create, the culture we create, Hanoi Buffalo culture. And so being able to come out here and help a group of guys get through COVID and still at the same time love basketball and not lose their passion. It was just a blessing, and I said, I'm here.
It sounds like it did all come from the same root.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
It's like the passion with basketball.
Yes.
Yeah, sure. But so far, what are the difficulties that you have faced being a coach in Vietnam?
Communication has always been the big one because I don't speak Vietnamese, so I'm one of the type of coaches that I speak a lot from the heart. And so I'll go into a pregame speech and I won't necessarily have anything particularly planned. I just let it flow. And so whatever I'm feeling in the moment, after kind of sensing the temperature of the room. And if the guys are a little down, then I got to bring their heads up. If they're a little too excited, I got to calm them down. Find that middle ground balance. So when I communicate with the guys, it's always been a challenge of trying to find that balance.
Yes.
And sometimes the emotional side and the ability to connect with somebody, I can't do easy because I can't express myself as a coach from what I'm feeling in my heart. I can say the words, but they don't feel what I'm feeling. So it's that's always been a tough challenge. But consistency and guys being around me through a good period of time has helped a lot. This is my 3rd season with Hanoi Buffaloes. We had a very successful season this year. And so once the guys kind of get to know my personality and read my body language, start to understand the things that I want for them in their careers, then they start really being able to connect with my emotions. It just takes time, and so with time comes progress.
Especially when it comes to good thing.
Yeah, exactly. So now the guys know me so well now that, like I said, with time comes progress. And so.
So what are your impression about other teams in Vietnam in general so far?
I actually love seeing the competitive side to every team.
Yes.
I've been able to go to high school games. I've been able to go to youth leagues, semi-pro leagues. I've been able to see, of course, be with the national team. Every different location of basketball that I've been a part of, the one thing I've noticed is that people they're not on their phones. They're watching the game.
Yeah,
they're locked in.
When I was in the course, like that is the thing that I would be like so impressive about.
Yeah.
You know, like when the crowds, they cheers up everyone.
They're every play they're cheering, every basket they're cheering.
Vibe, I really
the vibe
love
is
it.
amazing, and so that's a beautiful foundation, because that's what stems from a country that just wants to continue to develop, you know, and Vietnam has taken a great step forward in basketball in the last 5-6 years.
Yes.
It's still very green in a sense, but
Really
the
new.
foundation is starting to really blossom, you know.
So there is like a question that I'm really curious about is that, you know, being a coach, you would be like tough and strict, right?
Yes.
But like so far, have you ever had any conflict with the players? You know?
I mean, as a coach, you always have different little conflicts and different situations. The beauty of Hanoi Buffaloes is I've got such a group of humble guys. Humble guys that, you know, are willing to sacrifice their own personal goals at times for the good of the group.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and it's not always easy. It's not always easy. Because, you know, we set an idea of where we want to be in our own individual lives. And we have to make it work, because when you win a championship, everyone succeeds. You know, when you make a finals, everybody succeeds. You know, and so
common goal.
The common goals is key. And so, me as a coach, I always try to sit down with the guys and try to say, okay, what are some goals that we want to set forth for ourselves?
For this, like, ourselves and not for this
ourselves,
season.
for the group, right? Yeah, for the group.
Yeah.
Let's set ourselves a bar of excellence high and push ourselves to that. And I always talk about. Like the sport archery, you know, when you shoot an arrow, bow and arrow, you got to aim a little bit higher than the goal to hit the bullseye.
Yeah.
And so I always said, okay, let's set some goals that's going to push us higher. If we, for instance, this year don't win the championship, well, we were shooting for the championship.
Oh yeah.
Even though we hit a little lower than championship, and we still made the finals. We still had success.
Yeah, it's a part of the game.
It's a part of the game. So for me, it's just key that part of being able to teach these guys how to set those standards high, you know, and whatever happens afterwards, we're still successful because we did the right thing and we did it together.
So what is the future plan you have for the team?
We're going to continue to work. That's the first thing. You know, it's professional, so I have to really push these guys to be consistent. But I mean, we've been able to create those core values in them already. So just being a good coach and being a support system for them every day as much as I can be. You know, we're definitely going for that championship next season. You know, but hats off to Saigon Heat because they did an amazing job. You know, Coach Matt Van Pelt's the men's 3-on-3 coach for the national team. I'm the women's, so it was already like a battle of brothers. He's a great friend of mine, so hats off to Saigon Heat. They did an amazing job. You know, they're an example for Vietnamese basketball. But we're setting our foundation too. You know, we have a lot of things that we want to get better at. Continue to help these young guys develop more skills. Continue to support the older guys.
Yeah, but I remember like you guys are having like a long break now.
Yes.
Right. So what you and the team are doing right now?
So there's a lot of preparation for following season. There can be change of players. There can be recruiting processes, tryouts. Usually when Hanoi Buffaloes have our tryout, there's like 300 to 400 kids.
Wow,
you know,
that's a lot.
You know, kids
number.
and young athletes. You know, they're not just kids, but there's a lot of young athletes too as well. High school and college students. So we're definitely going to open our eyes to see what other talent is out there. We have our Junior Buffaloes program that we're going to continue to develop these young guys and continue to work on their skill sets. We're in the development process of having, of course, our Hanoi Buffalo Academy. You know, we have a unison with HNBA, which is another academy too as well. So continue to like branch out to other organizations and see how we as Hanoi Buffaloes continue to be a part of not just recruiting but development in the young athletes. That's our future. That's the Buffalo future, so we have to support them now. We have to give them the leadership and the teaching and the preparation now, so when they do get to an age that they can be a professional, they're mentally and physically ready. You know, so we're going to continue to work on,
for sure.
on all those things.
what was the most memorable moment between you and the team?
My most memorable moment?
Yes.
I've had a few. I've had some really good ones. Some of them aren't even like necessarily winning the game. It was the moments that we're in a group and we're playing, you know, Pictionary, or we're playing charades in a group, singing on the bus and doing karaoke on the bus. Some of those memories have been fun.
Yeah, it's not like all those activities, like the burning activities.
We try our best, and we have Coach Ving, who's been a great coach for us that really loves pushing that part of team unison, team building activities.
Yes.
So we try our best to do as much as we can as a team to really kind of see ourselves outside of the basketball version of us, but like just who we are as individuals. So those are really fun. When it comes to competition, for sure, that Thailand and Philippines games that we had with the girls, the Vietnamese national team, with that wonderful group of golden girls, the 4 girls that competed with me in 3-on-3, which is the Chung sisters, the superstars, Captain Nguyen, and of course AD Andao. That was real memorable because, you know, it's not every day that the national team wins a silver medal.
I remember back in the day, like all news, you know, like they all had to the twin sisters, right?
Yes.
And like, how was that like moment when you got that chance to be really close to them?
Really cool. You know, we didn't get to spend a lot of time, you know, with you know, working together because it's such a quick process. But we really got it to really gel and get to know each other pretty quickly. They're some of the most humble, hardworking, and just fun to be around girls. All 4 of them. They all have a little bit different things in their personalities. But that's what made them so connected. You know, and they were able to compete because
it's
they
like
are.
yin and yang.
You know, very similar. It's like, you know, four links all connected differently. But you know, it was so beautiful to watch them play. It was so beautiful to see them compete. You know, every game that we had to go out and battle and fight, you know, in 3-on-3, it's so few points and it's so few minutes that anything could happen.
Yeah, sure.
You know, and so these girls were able to take adversity in moments where, you know, maybe they might have made a mistake or nothing, and then they just turn it around and make a beautiful play.
Oh yeah,
you know?
beautiful pair.
Right, and so we, you know, going up and being able to go and beat Philippines, which was big, you know, and then all of a sudden go and beat Indonesia, which has never been done.
Wow.
And then, of course, the final game, you know, losing on a buzzer beater to Thailand, you know, they made that final shot.
It's okay.
But being able to get to that very last 5 seconds of a gold medal game and know,
this close.
Yeah. But it's still memorable because I'm a big believer that you don't always get in life what you want. You're going to get what you need. You know, we have all these big goals and big dreams, and then sometimes the reality of life doesn't allow us to reach to have all those things. So maybe we wanted the gold. You know, I know the girls wanted the gold. They were ready to go, and we're getting that gold for Vietnam. One shot took it away from us, but we didn't get what we wanted, but we got what we needed, which is still make history. First medal in SEA Games for women's basketball ever. We won gold in ABL, which was in Bali, a great tournament. So we did get a gold in our first international medal. And then just coming down and sitting in the locker room and telling these girls, look what y'all created.
Wow.
Look at the fans outside. Look at the 3,000 people that are sitting watching on a TV outside the arena because they couldn't get in. You changed a lot of things. You changed everything for Vietnamese women's basketball. From your commitment, from your hustle, and just being yourselves, not changing who y'all are.
Yeah, it sounds like something to be really proud of.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's like a milestone in the career.
Yeah. You know, so of course they're crying and sad because they didn't win the gold medal, but I mean the reality is you didn't get what you want, you got what you needed. What you needed was to give Vietnam a lighting, you know, gasoline to the fire for what is the future of women's basketball in Vietnam.
Right. You want. It's not really the thing that you need. Right. And I think, it's meant to be like that.
And I'm, you know, I've talked to the girls a little bit about this, to all 4 of them, that for them to maybe not win that gold medal is giving them a beautiful gift. That they now have the push and the drive and the motivation to come back in future tournaments and do it again.
Are they coming back here again?
We would hope. You know, we would hope. You know,
Did they make like the promise?
They're preparing for graduation, but their love and just what the Vietnamese fans and all the supporters and viewers did for them was incredible because they realized that their heritage where they're from, where their parents are from.
Oh, yeah. The root.
Needs them. The root needs them, you know? And so they're the foundation of Vietnamese basketball.
Yeah.
They're the root of the tree, but there's all these branches that start growing, and they're helping grow those branches.
Yeah.
And that's fans, and that's media, and that's coaches, and there's a lot of things that are happening, and it stems from them just being themselves and being well rooted into what they want for themselves.
Yeah.
So I know this is a random tree analogy, but it's the reality is that now they have the future opportunity to come back with more motivation to go win that first gold medal.
Yeah, sure.
You know,
Motivation.
they win everything. They show up and they just win everything and then go home back to Gonzaga. Then
there'll be nothing to tell, right?
I mean, there's a lot to tell, but there's not enough to have that like second push, like you know, like you don't have that missing piece that you still want.
Exactly. So just imagine when you was in the peak, you wouldn't feel like you should try more because you already like on the peak.
Yeah.
But like if you just like probably like the second, then you have a lot more to try.
If you win everything, your motivation is not the same as winning a lot and then still having that one thing that you really want. And so I know the girls, first thing they told me in the locker room, we running it back, coach? You know, I'm like, let's do it. You know, like they want to come back and compete and try to win that gold medal. Yeah. So they have a driving push, and I'm happy for that. Aww. Everything happens for a reason. So,
yeah, sure. Yeah. So what was the last thing the girls, the twins, spoke to you when they left?
So last thing they said in the locker room was, "Coach, are we running it back?" Which in the States is a saying meaning that like we have unfinished business. Hey, coach, are we coming for round 2 of the boxing match? You know,
they will come back to get what they deserve.
Correct.
What are supposed to be theirs.
Yeah, exactly. So and I love that competitive fire from them. So that was the last thing they said to me in the locker room, of course. And then going into the 5-on-5, we have a great group of girls. The men's team also are awesome too. Yeah. But like me and my experience with the girls, I mean, all 15 of those girls are awesome. So we competed in the 5-on-5, came this short to winning bronze medal with the 5-on-5, but all those girls are amazing. And so, I mean, really the last thing they say is, "Love you, coach. See you soon. Peace." You know, they have their style. See you soon, coach.
Oh,
Peace.
I remember that. That was like their signature.
You know.
Oh, so, shout out to the twin. I really love that. Girls, I really love that.
Peace out, coach. You know, like they're super hip. They're super hip, and then it rubs off on the rest of the girls, and the girls are all the other girls are awesome. But there's a bright future. There's a bright future.
They got that like a contagious energy, right?
Yeah, and they're so chill about it. It's not like they're like crazy wild energy. They show it on the court. And then off the court, they're in their Crocs, just chilling. It's just their personality. But I love that because that's the foundation to, you know, the future of Vietnamese basketball. And there's going to be a lot of great female basketball players that are going to come out from this and say, I can do this too.
2, 1, go.
I started playing drums when I was in middle school. You know, 12, 13 years old. You know, at that time I was trying different sports. I played American football, soccer, tennis, of course basketball. And then, you know, I still wanted to have another creative side. So I said, you know, let's try drums. And I loved it. I fell in love with what a beat exemplifies. You know, having a beat's like your heartbeat. Boom, boom, boom. It stays consistent. And I just fell in love with that part of being a part of a group, a band, and being the heartbeat of the band. First, you got to follow your beat. that's the first thing. Because being a drummer, you have to be able to focus on maintaining that rhythm. When you're in a band, whether it be marching band or orchestra band, you have all these different instruments playing, and you have to be in beat with them. So that was the challenge of the teamwork that it took to be able to be in tune with the people next to me.
Keep it, all right? Together. I'm here. Everybody together. Okay? Yeah.
basketball is like an orchestra. You have defenders and you have guys that shoot. You got guys that play physical, low post. You have all these different instruments within a basketball team, and you have to make them all play together. If one guy on the court moves late, it messes the whole play up. It's the same as an orchestra or a band. You have to have everybody in the same beat, and if the saxophone makes a meh at the wrong time, then it makes the whole thing sound bad. So it's the same principles of teamwork and being in tune. I just try to, like I said, before you can learn to lead, you have to learn to listen. Listening is auditory, and sometimes listening is reading, listening to the message in my head and assimilating how I can apply it in my life and in my players' lives, because I try to learn from other people. I never want to consider myself the best at what I do. I strive to be the best coach I can be. But in order for me to do that, I have to learn from other people's experiences and see how I can apply them in my life. So reading gives me that tool to be able to do that. So I usually try to spend at least 20 minutes a day reading, at least, minimum. A lot of the time during the season, sometimes the players will see it, sometimes I do it, sometimes I won't, would be on when we're driving to the game, and I'll read. I'll just sit there and I'll try to get some information that maybe just fits well with our pregame speech. I'll read something and say, hey, I could use this in my pregame talk with the guys, because it translates to maybe a certain emotion that we need to feel, or a certain type of focus or mental nutrition that the guys need to go out and compete. So it can be anywhere from self-help books, it can be anywhere from motivational books. I do a lot of leadership and coaching books because I try to learn from other coaches. I'll take things that I read or quotes that I like. I have a book that I just write every single quote that I like, and I just collect them all, and I collect them, and I'll have 50, 60 pages worth of quotes. And if I'm having a day that I'm frustrated, or I'm having one of those down days that we all have with human beings, I'll go to my book and I'll find that quote that fits that moment to get me out of that moment of anxiety, depression, or stress, or frustration. Anything negative, that quote might help me get out. So I write down quotes a lot. When it comes to my own writing, I'm writing 2 books, one more for athletes and one for common everyday individuals. And it's funny because one of the books, I don't have an ending to it because it's related to my career and what I'm trying to accomplish. And I think that once I accomplish that big goal that I have set forth, then I'll be able to close the book. I'm in this journey, this coaching journey, being in different countries, having to work with people that speak different languages, having to adapt to different cultures and different ways of living. So it's neat because I think our lives become one big story. Any kind of book that I might publish later on is going to be, intuitive and helpful for people, especially athletes and coaches. But what we really are is just writing down one big story.
So let's talk a bit more about your personal life.
Oh no.
Yeah, because usually, when it comes to the win, then everyone would be cheerful and going out to celebrate.
Yes.
But what about when you lose? You and the team lose. What will you do?
So you can ask my coaches. I have this really, weird habit. I always do it, but
what's that?
I can't sleep until I watch every game and every play.
Really?
After a game. So I mean, whether we win or we lose, as soon as the game's over, I'm in my room, I'm sitting down and I'm studying every play. What happened?
Wow.
Taking notes, figuring out, and that process usually takes, a couple hours because it's fresh in my mind. Sometimes situations happen in the game and oh my God, what was that? What happened? It passed so fast, I didn't even see it.
Oh yeah.
And then I'm watching the film and
analyzing
and then I'm sitting here did I make the right decision? Did I not?
No.
Did I put these guys in successful position?
Is that a bit too tough for yourself?
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
You kind of auto-critique yourself, and as a coach, it's really difficult because we don't shoot the shots.
Oh, yeah.
It's not like we can go out there and make a shot and make our team win. We have no control or power in that situation.
Sure.
So we have to do everything that we can to put these guys in a position, tactically, strategically, and emotionally, to win. And sometimes our decisions can change in a heartbeat. We have this big plan to beat this team a certain way, and then they change on us, and then all of a sudden it becomes a chess game.
Oh, yeah.
Again, using other sports.
Sure.
Me and Coach Van Pelt, this last finals, it was a chess game. I've had chess games with all coaches, and so you know, we really just try to find a way to put them in positions to be successful.
Sure.
And it's not easy. It's hard.
I know.
Very hard.
Yeah, it's a long process to arrange everything as well.
Yeah.
Yep. So besides the profession aspect, what else would you teach them? You kind of just teach them about like basketball itself, right? It would be like.
I actually learn a lot from them first because, you know, I'm still a foreigner here. You know, I adapt really well and I become friends with everybody and I'm super easygoing and everything. But I'm still learning a lot, you know, whether it be the customs, the traditions, from foods, all kinds of things. So I try to learn things from them, and then when I have an opportunity to share or do something new and different, I pray and hope it's something that they can connect with. So I try to study a little bit on different like ways of teaching, different ways of training, and use different analogies or different
about, like,
materials, you know.
Yeah, you talk about like the certain curriculum.
Yeah, different curriculums, different materials to try to teach a lesson, you know. So I'll use different things. I mean, you can use volleyball, for example, you know, setting up the pass to make the spike.
Really?
Well, I mean,
actually
in basketball,
link like different sports
yeah, in
into
basketball,
one.
it's Jeff Stubbs throwing the alley-oop to Shane Henry for the dunk. You know, it's similar principles in sport. And so I'll use different sports as a way of teaching and just to change up the energy. And like I said, everything is a tool that we can try to find a way as a coach to use. And just try it, you know, just try it. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, at least you tried.
Yeah, new experience give you like new lessons.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, sure. So nowadays, a lot of young people, they want to be like a basketball player. So do you have any like standard to recruit new player?
I've actually, I love how you say that they want to be a basketball player because basketball is hot in Vietnam right now.
Exactly. BBA is like a really trendy thing.
It is, and especially you know, the SEA Games and the men's and women's teams that I got to be a part of. It's hot because there's a lot of fire towards getting through COVID and getting back out and enjoying the presence of being around people who love basketball too. And I see these mega crowds and I'm looking around, I'm sitting here like, there's a lot of talent out here. Vietnam has a lot of young talent. The challenge for us is for them to understand that this Hanoi Buffaloes and national team, it's a job. It's not just for fun, you know, it's a job. But I really look for young athletes that are not only available, that make time to put an effort into becoming a better basketball player, that are consistent, that are determined, that are, you know, have a foundation of discipline. Because a lot of young athletes, they don't know how to be disciplined. So we can train them, but the ones that already kind of have it, they're already one step forward and ahead of the others. And so I really recruit people that have already a level of respect and discipline towards Hanoi Buffaloes, towards me, and towards their teammates.
But do you plan to stay in Vietnam for long?
I hope so. Yeah, I hope so. You know, and you know, I continue to travel, and like I said, we have our long-term plan. My long-term plan, of course, is, you know, and everybody kind of knows I'm really shooting to try to make the big leagues. As a coach, you know, one day hopefully I am in the NBA, you know, working as on a team. That's my big goal. But
really? So like being a part of the NBA or reach till that like a point, your ultimate goal in basketball?
That's the goal. Yeah, that's the goal for sure. That's the goal for sure.
So not just like stabilize everything in Vietnam, huh?
Yeah, exactly. You know, that's the ultimate goal. And you know, me being Latino, I don't think there's any really Latinos in the NBA, so I kind of want to be a guy that sets the foundation for future generations of Latino men and women, that you too can be a coach in the NBA and be Hispanic, you know. So I don't have that goal just set for me, but I have that goal set to create an opportunity to open up some doors for future men and women, Latino, you know, coaches, that they too can make the top leagues. So once I reach that goal, of course, you know, I'll celebrate. And then I'm probably working like crazy afterwards because they work really hard. So I have my personal coaching goals. I'm really trying to take that step forward, make the NBA. You know, that's my big goal. You know, you want to shoot for the top, so I'm shooting for the top. But in the next 5 years, I hope I really can learn a lot of new things that I can apply them and make myself a better candidate for future jobs. I can go in an interview and say, hey, you know, what can you bring to the team? Discipline, you know, hard working. Everybody says that. I want to tell them some stories about my life. And make myself a fun candidate for a position. So
I think that'd be like really inspiring.
So, but you know, just really still being really connected with my family too.
Oh, yeah.
You know, because I'm always traveling, so I don't always get to spend time with them. So I'm hoping in the next 5 years I can spend a little more time with my nephews and my family.
Yeah, sure. So today has been fun, and we are very thankful for having you bring our viewers insights into the life of coaching, leadership, and motivating our talented Vietnamese athletes. So we are really thankful for having you today.
Thank you for having me hang. Thank you VTVcab for having me. It's been a pleasure. It's been fun, insightful, and see y'all soon.
So we are really excited to see you and your energy on the court soon. Everyone stay tuned for what is coming next on TalkSport. Now, goodbye and see you soon. Bye!